ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य म आणीस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed in my consciousness. May the truths of the scriptures come to me. May not what I learn from them ever forsake me. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our true divine nature in our heart. As a steadily burning candle flame. Let us feel its light permeating my whole personality. I am the light. I am pure consciousness. I see the same light pervading the whole universe. I see the oneness of the whole existence. am this luminous existence absolute, beyond time, beyond space. I am perfection itself. Om. Peace. 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 So, dear friends, let us begin today's discussion with our usual prayers. Tava kathamritam tapta jeevanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham shravanamangalam श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ते भूरिदा जनाः. So two Tuesdays before, we were looking at this chapter, Discourses on Bhava, Samadhi and Darshana, in trying to feel the consciousness or the awareness with which the various actions in Sri Ramakrishna's life were being conducted. Especially when we read his life, we see certain things which are not occurring in common people. There are certain things where his life and our life has similarity. I mean, exactly same. Sri Ramakrishna walked on two legs. We also walk on two legs. Sri Ramakrishna spoke the Bengali language. Sometimes he also put in a few English words in that, like thank you. He had learned some English words from various English-speaking people that he came in contact with. So, like he would say in Bengali, can I give you now one thank you? So it is thank you. He would eat the food that commonly other people would eat. He had, especially in the later days, somewhat weak stomach. But many have that kind of stomach or digestion problems. He was not very special in that. So, he also used to sleep on regular beds like people sleep. And so forth. As far as the common appearance goes, he was no different than any of us. Where was his that difference was in these matters, that he would go in a state where he would directly commune with God, with the reality of everything, the unchanging reality of everything. He would have direct communion and communication with that reality and the various different modes of connecting to that reality, which is not available to us. That we believe, many times we also get an inkling that there is more to this universe than meets our eyes or our other senses. There is something deeper to that. There must be something that governs the whole existence. There is some level where we can get connected to that reality, but we are not able to do that. Sri Ramakrishna could do that easily. And then these three, there are three stages of that, which is, one is called bhava, that he would get in a particular mood, particular mode. Although we see him, others would see him, he would be actually lost in conversation or in awareness of something different than this mundane world. Just to give you an example, some time back, I met one gentleman here and I saw him talking, but I didn't see any person to whom he was talking. I didn't, and when I tried to talk to him, he wouldn't answer me. He was not uh, even aware of my existence. He was talking on phone with somebody, but all that, that, what is it called? That device, so that Bluetooth or whatever. So I was not seeing that. He had earphones, so I was not able to hear what he was hearing. I was getting a glimpse of what he was talking, but I was not aware with whom he was talking. And he was oblivious of my presence. He was laughing while talking to that person, that I didn't know what he was laughing about. So, like that, Sri Ramakrishna would get in a communication with something that we are not able to connect to. It is that hotline Sri Ramakrishna had that we don't have, to connect to that reality. Like those who are, big celebrities or higher ups there, they have hotlines. Means only those who have that authority, they can call you. Suppose, for example, you try to call the governor. Now the governor, the office will pick up the phone and, well, I want to talk to governor. Well, right now she is busy in a meeting, or something like that will be told. We won't get so easily to talk to her. It is, but that doesn't mean nobody will get to talk to her. She has her, other associates, other members, and then her work group. So they have a hotline connection with her, and they can reach her very easily. Now, how? Because that governor and her staff, they have, her means, because in Rhode Island it is she who is the governor, so that is why I am saying her. So it is, so she has a staff. That staff is closely connected with her, and she knows that they need to reach her. So they have a connection, and through that connection they communicate. Now Sri Ramakrishna has that wonderful connection with God, that most of us know and believe that there is God. Like most of us believe that there is governor, isn't it? We believe that there is governor, but we don't have that, straightforward access to governor. We need to go through many, so it is. But Sri Ramakrishna had a direct connection with divine. And so this part is very special. Then another thing that we read while reading the life of Sri Ramakrishna, that he would uh, actually uh, see the various divine expressions in various ways at different planes of existence. See, there are so many different planes that the beings exist. We are not able to see them all. For example, there are many microbes filling this room. We don't see them, and that is not, their level of existence is not where our perceptions are. And we don't see them, and we get the effect of it. That is, many times we get infected by them, and then we realize that, well, there were germs around there, but we didn't see. In hospitals, at such places we go, then we put that sanitizer on our hands. Why? Because there are so many patients, so many infections are moving around, and we also may be carrying some. So, before touching things around or meeting the patient or having a handshake with the patient, and we sanitize to get rid of that, supposedly. Whether it does or not, it is matter of belief, but that is the idea, that we don't see those germs, but we know that they are there. Now, uh, some people, somebody can develop that skill to see them. A finer eyesight can be developed, where we can see those things. They can see us. We can have a direct communion. Hey, why are you here? We feel infected by your presence. Why don't you go there, out there, or go? My enemy lives the next door. Why go to that person? It is. Mm, the idea is that the existences are on various different planes, like the frequencies, compatible frequencies can be perceived. And that is what we feel that the whole existence is about, what we are compatible with. There are many, many layers of psychic existence. Many of us get a feel sometimes of that in dream, and we wonder what was it. It is, but then we do not see any connection of that when we wake up. Sometimes it is very hazy picture of it that we get when we wake up. We try to describe that what I saw in the dream, but the description is not same as the perception then. So, because the levels are different, uh, but some people can have that perception. Therefore, there are those they get called as psychics. They see ghosts around that normally we will not be able to see. And some of them are just maybe it is just hallucination. But some is real, that you can't rule it out because there are beings at different planes of existence that we do not see doesn't mean that they don't exist. It is our inability to see them, that's it. Scientifically, we can say only that much, that we are not able to see them. We have no reason, therefore, to assume that they don't exist. Especially when there are other beings like us who are able to see that. It is not right to just say, oh, they have weak brains, therefore they are seeing it. It is their mental weakness. Not necessarily. It is because especially when you see that in other matters, their brain power is not at all lower than us. In fact, they are better in many of the regular brain functions too. So why should we assume that what they are saying is not true? It is, I am not able to see, that is one thing. But that doesn't give me the right to say that that does not exist. It could exist. And here is a person, Sri Ramakrishna, who could go from various one level of existence to another level easily. Easily. It is not a mystery for him. And that is called darshana. And darshana means actually seeing or perception, actually. Darshana, perception. But the word in this technical sense is used for perception which is extrasensory perception, which is beyond what common human perception is. What is commonly seen by human eyes, it transcends that. It is like that the owls, they can see at night, can't see during the daytime, but can see at night. And there are various research these things done on that, that many owls can see day as well as night visions. So, but we normally would be not seeing anything, it is all dark. But the owls can see, not only they can see, they can catch those their food, and yeah, it is, I saw one nice orchard, and then there would be a guard for the orchard, and he would be there whole night. I said, well, the thieves come? No, no, no thieves. Then what? The owls, they eat all these things. So, and they come right at night. So, although we are not able to see, they are able to see all that. And then the bats, they have a different way of perception. And their seeing is of a different type. It is not the visual, but it is audio seeing. It is, they have sonographic vision and not this our visuals, uh, but the sonography. That is how the bats see. So what I mean is that there are creatures with different types of perception. And see, therefore, the world of bats. Suppose, just imagine a bat becomes like our Atreya, a theoretical physicist. That a bat becoming a physicist. So we'll develop a very different type of physics. What do you think? It is. Yeah, it is because has this a different sense perception and different instruments are spontaneously available, and so we'll have a different, the understanding of the universe. So similarly, if a person has developed that skill to go to various different levels of existence, and not just at the physical level, but at the mental level. Imagine, that how many different beings that person can see and that person therefore can see the divine expressions also at all these levels. And then there is also a stage that we see in Sri Ramakrishna's life very frequently, and that is losing all the awareness of the external body and external world and be merged with God. Because our these many people from the medical and scientific community could not explain that. They said, well, this is, this happens because of a neurological disease. It is, they considered Sri Ramakrishna to be a pathology case, that it is because of a neural disorder, this happens, this kind of that it is like there are Sri Ramakrishna used to have this blackout. Many, get into that suddenly you lose the connection in the brain and it all you don't know anywhere, and many times people fall down because of that blackout. So it is they considered Sri Ramakrishna's case also like that because they could not explain. But the main important thing to counter that was Sri Ramakrishna was never unconscious at that time. He was on a plane of consciousness where he experienced intense bliss. That is the big difference between being in the blackout, just no consciousness at all. The brain become, there is no supply to the brain of that blood supply or oxygen supply to the brain has stopped. So that is one condition. Here it is the state of super consciousness. So that is called in scripture samadhi. So this is where Sri Ramakrishna's life had so much, speciality than our lives. And unless we see that, it would be impossible to understand various events in his life. Because all that we do in our life is prompted by our awareness of I and world. I am so and so, and this is the world around me, and the world is sending stimuli to me. I am responding to that. And that is our life, you know. The world sent me a stimulus, and that this is a nice cake in front of me. Uh, if when I get that stimulus, then there is the response that the saliva starts excreting. I run and grab that. Does it happen, Anna, sometimes to you? Never? Every day, okay, okay. So I just go and grab and start eating that. So it is this is our common response based on our awareness as to who am I and what the world is. Now Sri Ramakrishna has a completely different awareness, and so therefore his actions were prompted also by a different awareness. And unless we get a glimpse of this, it won't be possible to get any idea of how he lived his life. Otherwise, the life of incarnation of God makes no sense. Why did they live? We had that story of Rama in 4 lines. Rama's Ramayana story in 4 lines. What happened? Nothing much. Adau Rama tapovanaधिगमनम्. This Rama went, was sent by his mother and father to the forest. So he went into the forest. Hatva mrigam kanchanam. There he, prompted by his wife, he went to catch a gold color deer, mrigam kanchanam, that a golden color, very attractive deer, and that he went to capture, kill, and then that by that time his wife was abducted by the Ravana, uh, that Vaidehi Haranam, and then he set out to look for her in the forest. That he got the news about who took her from a Jatayu. What is that creature called? Vulture, or an eagle, something like that. Mm. So that eagle told Rama who took that, and then that eagle died. It fought with the demon, and so it died. Uh, and then what happened? Mm, then uh, he went ahead that he had a chat with the king of the monkeys, Sugriva. Uh, Sugriva Sambhashanam. Then afterwards there is the burning of the city of Lanka. Paschad Ravana Kumbhakarna Hananam. After that, Ravana and Kumbhakarna were killed. Etadhi Ramayanam. This is what all Ramayana is. This is just a story, a fairy tale, that's all, nothing much there. It is the divinity of Rama. They, all that deeper aspects, they do not come there. Because if you are looking only at the events, not the awareness with which these actions and events they happened. So that is why Swami Saradananda makes it clear here that how these things actually happened in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. He gives one specific example how Sri Ramakrishna I used to experience these states of samadhi, and how his understanding and expressions were so clear, crystal clear about it. See, we marvel when he's told that young man Narendranath, a kind of agnostic college student, that I see God as I see you, only more clearly. All these things were so clear to him, more clear than we see each other. I don't have any doubt that Joan is sitting right in front of me. Absolutely no doubt. How do you know she is sitting? Why? What do you mean? What a question. I saw with these very eyes. But these eyes, compared to the eyes with which one can see God, are just blindness. By these eyes we see that which just passes away, comes and goes. We do not see that which is real with these eyes. So, Sri Ramakrishna had that eye of the eye by which he could see the truth, and very clearly. Look, we will read some part of this and see how vivid these descriptions are. These, his words are so clear that he says, Swami Saradananda describes that the yogis say that Paramatman, the indivisible existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute, or God, dwells as consciousness in the Brahmarandhra, the aperture in the crown of the head. The Kundalini power that is in the base of the spine has tremendous affinity for the Supreme Self. In other words, God attracts it constantly. We all feel attractions of various objects. At one time we feel, hey, this is very attractive. At some other time, that attraction goes to some other object. It is constantly shifting. And also what we feel attracted to, uh, we do not feel that attraction constantly being there. We lose that attraction. In fact, if we examine the psychology, we feel the attraction only till we get it. As soon as we get it, we lose attraction for it. This is, what does it tell us? The attraction was not of that thing at all. It was coming from there apparently, but it was not of that. It is something like this. I gave that example of cake. I get attracted to the cake. But if I see that, well, there is no cake, it was only a picture of cake, then my attraction will go away. All the saliva will just die out there. In fact, looking at it again, that saliva will not come because the awareness of cake has been replaced now by awareness of paper. So it has changed now. So, similarly, our attraction to various things in the world, just we feel intense attraction that dies away. Why? Because that was not really the source of attraction at all. It was God alone that was attracting us all the time. And that God is in every being. So, in everything we felt that attraction. But it was not the attraction of that thing, but of God that was expressing through that object. So we have to remember this. That is why here, although we keep on running after the different objects, we are never satisfied by getting any. We here, all who are present here, have lived enough life to ponder that what things attracted us in our life, and did that attraction remain? No, it remained for a little while and then died out. The attraction that we had as little children, like our Dylans, that when I went to their house, they were little, and then his younger brother, he was, how younger is it to you? By 3 years. He was more interested in showing me all that Lego and all that he had. He was very interested in that those days. All his world was that, you see. And now I don't think he has any attraction for those things. No more. It is gone. Similarly, all that, everything that you feel attracted at one point, then you lose the attraction for that, because the attraction always was for God. So when you know that, now your source of attraction becomes different. Now you know that God is the source of attraction. One name in Hindus for God, therefore, is Krishna. You know Krishna. Krishna means the one who pulls you, one who attracts you. Karshayati iti Krishna. So that is what is attracting us. And that is represented therefore by the yoga practitioners. The yoga means the practical discipline to realize the truth that there is our base awareness, which is in the base of the spinal column, called Mooladhara. And then it is attracted to God, who is pictured in the top of the head. So it is rising, somehow when we say rising, it appears to be good, It is somebody has risen in the profession. We say, well, good. Some has now risen in the grades, so it is good. So good is connected somehow with rising. Of course, many times rising prices or rising cost of living doesn't give us a very good feeling, but it is, that is, rising is like that. Now, so rising, evolution of human awareness goes from stage to that source of attraction, that is God, and there you merge with the actual source of attraction. There the purpose of life is then fulfilled. You found your beloved. And the story, like the fairy tale, comes to an end. They lived happily. What? Thereafter. That happens only then. Otherwise, the story ends just because you want to start another story, that's all. It is really, there is nothing ever after. A boy and girl gets united, and then the story ends there, because there is actually nothing much worth describing thereafter. So therefore the story ends there. So it is, but here this story is ended in real happiness. Now As I was describing in the 2 Sundays back, that Sunday lecture about the memorable day. That memorable day has come in life. So this is what is called the progress of Kundalini. That yes, the awareness is rising. We are feeling more and more sense of our purpose of life. Like you know that you have to drive to New York and you begin, yes, New York, 180 miles. And then after driving for 1 hour, you see New York. Hey, it is just 100 miles. You were driving pretty fast though. It is. Uh, so now you feel happy. Yeah, I made good distance. I made good distance today. It is, yeah, it is. So you feel actually the true progress that yes, now the happiness is felt more. The life gets, infused with more actual happiness that does not depend on the situations, not because what Mexico won or Mexico lost in the soccer, you see. Hey, stop. Okay. Uh, then, yeah, Mexico won. So, hey, but then that happiness wouldn't depend on how Mexico plays, or whether it is winning or losing. It is dependent on your progress towards the actual source of happiness. It is becoming closer and closer, coming nearer and nearer. It is exactly like there is, say, a fragrant flower, and then you are feeling the fragrance. You are probably not able to see where the flower is, but you start, going in that direction. If you are going in the right direction, what will happen, Punita? More fragrance, exactly. More fragrance. So similarly, the life will be permeated with more fragrance of the presence of divine. So this is what is described here. When the Kundalini is sleeping, it does not feel that attraction. But as soon as it is awake, it is drawn to God and moves towards Him. The path that the Kundalini takes to reach God exists within each one of us. Starting from the brain, this path extends through the spine down to the Mooladhara, the lowest center, located in the base of the spine. According to the yoga scriptures, this path is called Sushumna channel. Western physiologists have described it as the canal centralis, but so far they have not discovered its purpose. It is by this path that the Kundalini, once separated from the Supreme Self, has descended from brain to Muladhara. The Kundalini ultimately goes back upwards to the brain through the same path by passing through the 6 centers that exist one above the other in the Sushumna channel. Inside the spine, there is a footnote. The yoga scriptures name the 6 centers of Kundalini and describe their respective locations. Mooladhara, between the base of the sexual organ and the anus. 2. Swadhisthana, at the base of the sexual organ. 3. Manipur, at the navel. 4. Anahat, at the heart. 5. Vishuddha, at the lower end of the throat. 6. Ajna, between eyebrows. So, it is, of course, It is to be understood that all these 10 centers are situated in the Sushumna column within the spine, and the words uh, that heart, throat, and so on indicate the corresponding regions of the body. Yes, that distinction has to be understood. That it is, these are there means not that come on, let us surgically cut it, and then why do all this spiritual practice? Just open that channel surgically and then push that kundalini, go up. No, it is not that easy. It is, you won't find anything there. It is, you see, it is like that. The words are just indicative of the presence, not really to be understood in a different sense. So, and then when the Kundalini reaches the brain, the aspirant attains the ultimate experience of spirituality, which is the non dual knowledge that unites the aspirant with the Supreme Self, the cause of all causes. At that time, the aspirant also reaches the culmination of devotional mood that he or she has been following. So, all paths of spiritual progress unite there. Whether somebody is following the path of devotion, whether somebody is following the path of discernment, or somebody is following the path of meditation, all these paths ultimately result in that non dual consciousness. They non existent, fictitious separation between I and world vanishes. Imagine that. Just we can only imagine. It is how the life will be. Try imagining, you know. Try imagining. It is, see Ritu, try to imagine when the distinction, which actually is only, in imagination, fictional, fictitious, between Ritu and the whole universe, gone. That line of separation gone. What will be the experience? Think of it. It is, you get to that non dual experience. And he says, oh, how simple was the language that the master would use to explain this intricate subject of yoga. He said, look, something moves upward from the feet to the head, corresponding or creeping along with a tingling sensation. As long as it does not reach the brain, I remain conscious. But the moment it does, I completely forget myself. Even the eyes and the ears cease to function, and speech is out of question. Who can speak? The very distinction of I and you vanishes. Sometimes I think I shall tell you everything about what I see and feel when that mysterious power rises up through the spinal column. When it comes up to this, or pointing to the heart, and then to throat, it is possible to speak, which I do. But the moment it has gone above this, pointing to the throat, it is as if someone were pressing my mouth closed and I lose all external awareness. I don't have any control. I make up my mind to relate to you what I feel when Kundalini goes beyond the throat. But as I consider this, the mind leaps upward and speaking then becomes impossible. And there is then the next paragraph. that Sri Ramakrishna was making an attempt. Actually, the author himself was in the audience when he said one day, "Oh, how often Master made great efforts to control himself, yet failed to describe to us the visions and experiences he had when his mind reached the center above the throat." One of our friends told us one day, this is not when this author was not present on this particular occasion, but he heard from his friend. One day the master said emphatically, "Today I will tell you everything. I will keep nothing secret." He described clearly the centers and the corresponding experiences up to heart and throat, and then pointing to the sixth center between the eyebrows, he said, "When the mind reaches this point, one gets the vision of Paramatman, the Supreme Self, and enters in Samadhi. Only a thin transparent veil intervenes between the individual self and the Supreme Self. One then sees, and as he attempted to provide details about the vision of the Paramatman, he went into Samadhi. That day was exceptional. He described even a little more than the throat, that yes, then there is only like a transparent screen between I and Paramatman. Almost there, almost got it. It is. And then he started telling, then that's it, gone, no further. Uh, then he tried it again, and as he attempted to provide details about the vision of the Paramatman, he went into Samadhi. When his mind came down a little, he tried again and became immersed in Samadhi. After repeated fruitless attempts, he said tearfully, "Look, I sincerely wish to tell you everything without hiding anything whatsoever. But the mother won't let me do so. The mother won't let me do so. She keeps closing my mouth." Dumbfounded, we thought, what is this? We see he is trying his utmost to tell us his experience, and moreover he is in pain because he is unable to express himself. The mother is really a mischievous woman. He wants to tell us something, the mother, about something very good about God realization. So why is she holding his mouth closed? At that time, we did not understand that the mind and the intellect through which one must speak are very limited. And unless one goes beyond their range, one cannot have the complete realization of the Supreme Self. Did we then understand that the Master was trying to make the impossible possible because of his love for us? Look at that, because of the tremendous love Sri Ramakrishna has for likes of us. He is trying his utmost to make that description possible, but the words can reach only to that extent. Beyond that, words do not have power. But if you closely see, and you have to have the power of some abstract thinking for it. Did Sri Ramakrishna not tell? He told what that experience is. He told that it cannot be told by words. Isn't it that he told? He expressed it in his experience. He told, but he didn't tell. By not telling, he told. If had he told, he wouldn't have told. Do you see this? It is like a man was called, "Hey, do you hear? Are you asleep?" And he says, "I am asleep fast. I am fast asleep." What does it mean? He is awake, you see, he is not fast asleep. So, yeah, I see God, yes, like this. That means you don't see, that's all. Mm. So, uh, so friends, today was the last class for this session. There will be by the grace of God, we can begin the discussion on this book again on Tuesday, September 11th. It is between that and now there will be many other programs happening. The first of that is a function at Tridib Roy's house on 30th, the coming Saturday from 11 to say about 1 o'clock. It is about celebrating the birth anniversary of M. Mahendranath Gupta. So every year he organizes this program. If you want to attend, please RSVP to him or to me, either will do. Then our next meeting will be on July 4th. Please, there was some mistake in printing that date on flyer. The date is right, the time was printed wrong. It is the program is actually July 4th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So please remember that and feel free to come for that program. It is a nice get together. So, any questions? We will meditate for 30 seconds, and then if you have at all any question, feel free to ask. Yes, please. He had raised his hand first. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. The two. It is a tricky question, really. That he has a memory of that state. Yes. Not exactly what we understand by the memory uh, of our regular perceptions, but the memory of all the memories, if you think of that, that memory he had, that is true. Then the second question that sometimes he described, there were 7 sages. He especially described that when he was describing about the advent of Narendranath, that he saw 7 sages in that region, which was the region of indivisible. Now, how could he see 7 figures in that region? It beats me. I am equally ignorant about you as about this as you are probably. It is I have no answer for that. I can repeat an answer that when I asked this question, or many others also I saw asking this question, and some knowledgeable person gave an answer, but that answer again is only a faint attempt at answering. That there are various layers of indivisibility. Something is indivisible at our level, but is still divisible. It is like the various levels of infinity. It is like that. There are layers of indivisibility. So, for a common person not trained in Cantor's mathematics, then we will say that what is there, the infinite is infinite. What is more infinite and less infinite about it? Well, but we can have a logically correct gradation of infinite too. So, similarly, there are that Swami explained like that there are the gradations of indivisibility also. Yeah, that indivisibility came in the range of, yeah, the forms. So he could explain, correct? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it will be at the various levels of hallucinations will be also be there, just as there are layers or levels of perceiving God, there are layers of hallucinations as well. It is, yeah. The hallucination also has a hierarchy, you know. Well, it is, see, one important thing here is all the measurement is in hallucination only. In oneness, there is no measurement, there is no more or less. More or less is a matter of measurement. It is, therefore, in supreme realization, there is no more, less, or anything. Till then, there is measurement, and therefore, it is a state of hallucination. Yes. Yes, Anna. Yes. 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 They did have the episodes of union with divine. Buddha's description of his nirvana is very much like the description of samadhi. Yeah, correct. Yes, Judy? Well, that is what we want. Yeah. Correct. You know what is aversion? Yeah. Good question. The first thing is that the love, yes, it changes if its basis is some physical objects or bodies or personalities, that love changes. And yet, you see, the commitment remains. Mm. The commitment is not exactly love, but commitment, what it is? Love for truth, isn't it? Commitment. How do we hold on to a commitment even though there is no love? We hold on to the commitment. Like, say, husband and wife, they remain committed to each other. Now there is commitment, and that commitment stems from the love of truth. So, and truth is God. So, there also it is the love for God that is making this sense of the whole relationship. It is, I like a story of Lord Buddha in this. It relates to all types of human relations, especially the human relation, say, of marriage. That Buddha's disciple was getting married. So he invited Buddha to the wedding ceremony. And Buddha went, the story is long, I will make it short. Buddha went there with all his disciples, and then he requested Buddha to say something on this occasion. And Buddha began saying, "It is so good that two souls are coming together in love. Everybody must get married. Everybody," he said, "must get married." And then all must have been looking at him. "Why then you get out of your wedlock? What is it?" Then he said, "Everybody must get married to truth." That is the first marriage that everybody must perform. Even the next marriage that you are doing, its validity is there only if you are married to truth, isn't it? If you are married to truth, then only that marriage could have some validity. Otherwise, well, I said it at that time, I don't care about it now. It is so that love for truth makes our relations, our family love, or the love with our friends, that also is possible only if there is this primordial love, love for God, love for truth. There is a very beautiful lecture by Swami Akhilananda. Swami Akhilananda, that he says there that even our loving relations in family, this is a sociological problem. How to keep the families together and all that. He said that it is only if there is the love for God to begin with, then that can help to keep the families also together. Otherwise, not. So the love for God is primarily the cause for even the love for other things as well. The love in other things actually has no place independently. It doesn't exist. It either peters into slavery, or peters into, the addiction or the sense of duty, sense of commitment. That's all. The love for God alone makes us even love our fellow beings, actually. That yes, the same I is in the other person also. That idea makes the love possible between people as well. Isn't it, Jim Lee? Yeah. Jim Lee is sitting right behind you, Judy. So, it is. So, the love also is possible in human beings because of that love for God. Yes, Charlie? Wow. Why it is? It is passed down. The path is passed down from generation to generation. Now we have to walk on that path. It is available if we walk on that path. It is available to you if you get there. You have the passport for it. But you have to, take up the journey. Mm. It is, you have the ticket for the movie, but then you have to go and watch the movie, isn't it? Just because you have the ticket doesn't mean you have watched the movie. So we have the ticket to that experience, but we have to uh, work on that. Yeah. Well, the attraction, there is this duality, A attracting B. But when the attraction becomes intense, the effect is unification. Then there is no two and no attraction. It is one. Do you feel any attraction for Charlie? That answers your question, you see. It is. Yes, therefore, what is aversion? Who asked that question? Judy. Aversion is that when you got attracted, but then you realize that that was not what you were getting, you really wanted in life. So the attraction becomes aversion. It is like a ball you throw on the wall. It hits and comes back. So it was meant to go in that direction but hit the wall. So it cannot anymore go in that direction. It started coming back. So that is aversion. It is you run to that and then you feel that is not that, and then there is the aversion. The attraction inverted is called aversion. So let us conclude with our closing prayers. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, Peace be unto all. This year is original Tao, and these classes will begin from July 10th, Tuesday, July 10th. It will be like 7 o'clock. We will have the Arati, and then we will have this discussion. It's a very beautiful book. It precedes the Lao Tzu's that Tao Te Ching, and it is really very practical mystic book. So we shall be studying that one. That I have ordered a few copies. It is also available in the. You can download it in the PDF format. Okay then.